how would you know that she got it?
Well, if she starts going to lunch with them, then I would get it. I'd see that she got it, yeah.
Yeah, but there's a difference between somebody getting what you want and somebody agreeing to do something about it.
Oh.
And when you want to give somebody feedback, there's a step of just having shared understanding of what is being talked about that is separate from whether the person is going to do it or not. Because first there is what is happening, and then there's the suggestions, and then there's seeing if the suggestions will actually work for this person. Because they might work for you, but if they don't work for her, and we had talked about power. If you give somebody a suggestion and they can't say no to it now in the moment, they're likely to say no to it later, and you won't see the results that you want. For example, if there is a specific reason why she doesn't like to go with the guys to lunch, then she'll say, sure, I'll go with them, but she won't.
Right.
I'm sure you've seen that happen time and time again.
So I should ask her if there's any specific reason why she's not going to the...
That would help. That would help.
Okay.
And then one of the other things that you gain by that is another issue that often happens in workplaces is bosses don't hear all the information.
That's for sure.
There's a lot that happens that people don't tell you because they're afraid.
Yeah.
But if you are inviting it, and in a context where there isn't going to be negative consequences to telling you the truth, then she's more likely to want to tell you.
Right.
So let's see what she says.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering why it is that you've not been choosing to do that so far.
Choosing to spend more lunches with my colleagues?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm not curious why you're asking me that. I'm not really comfortable.
Just because I'm thinking that if I ask you to do that, but really it's not something that you want to do, then...
Well, I don't want to do it, that's right.
Right, exactly, and that's what I want
That's why I haven't been doing it.
Right, and that's what I want to understand, if there's something for me to understand about that.
It's really hard for me to talk about that. I'm not sure I want to tell you why I don't want to have lunch with them. If you're telling me I have to...
No, I'm not, no.
Let's pause this for a second, because this is a very rich moment. I mean, you are very uncomfortable, but you are actually telling him something already. You're telling him more truth than you have been, aren't you?
Yeah, I feel pretty vulnerable about it, but yeah.
Yeah. And you want the truth.
Now I do, now that you've suggested that, yeah.
Yeah. You see that, you are uncovering something slowly. If you handle this with enough grace, you will learn something that as a boss is essential for you to know about the functioning of the team.
I'm worried though, because this is exactly why I don't ask this kind of thing. You see, she feels like she's on the spot now, and I've put her on the spot. So, and that doesn't.
So what can you imagine saying to her to reassure her that there won't be negative consequences? What?
I could just tell her that.
Do you have a sense of what she might be worried about? Why she doesn't want to tell you?
That it might jeopardize her good standing with me as a boss, and that has lots of repercussions.
Okay,
possible.
that could be one thing. You can check with her if that's the
concern. That it might get back to the other people is something
that could be a second concern. So let's check with her what her concern is, and then see if you can reassure her. Because workplaces are very, 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 full of consequences.
Right, right.
So if you want to create more truth, there needs to be a way to reduce the threat of consequences.
Right.
So let's see if we can do that.
So I want you to know, really, Julia, there's no consequence one way or the other of you telling me the reason, not telling me the reason, going for lunch with them, not going for lunch with them. That was just a suggestion about one of the ways that the team works. So, how is that for you to hear me say that?
I'm not entirely clear what you mean by no consequences. It's confusing to me. I'm not going to get in any trouble for...
Right. Can I explain what I mean? I got the impression that you were a little bit nervous about saying anything more about that. And I'm guessing you're nervous because you're thinking there might be some negative consequence of telling me or something like that. And so I'm just wanting to reassure you that there's definitely not, you know.
Well, I have to work with these people, and if you're telling me that I need to sit at lunch with them in order to do my job more effectively, then that's coming from you, and obviously I'll have to do that. But you're asking me why I haven't been sitting with them for lunches up until now, and that seems like it's just uncomfortable talking about that. I'm not sure this is the right place that I should bring that kind of thing up.
Right. And I guess what I'm really wanting you to get is that if there's some reason which is really big for you why you don't want to do it, then I don't want to force you to do it. So what are you getting from me at that moment saying that?
You're telling me that if there's a real big reason for me for not wanting to have lunch with them, then I don't have to.
Right.
So I'm curious if you trust that.
I want to trust it, but I feel like I'm in this really awkward situation right now where I don't know what I'm supposed to do, what I'm going to get in trouble for.
And part of the difficulty is that the norm in most workplaces doesn't convey a care for the well-being of employees. Its employees are there to do their job.
Right.
And what you are trying to do here is to subvert that norm and convey to Julia that her well-being matters to you.
Yeah.
And I have a sense that you are making some headway, but it's still hard for her to trust.
Right. Yeah, it's not going to happen instantly.
The change in her trust. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I've never asked anything like this before, so.
Yeah. So I'm thinking acknowledging that something different is happening right now might help her.
Okay. Yeah. I get the impression that you're a bit nervous about this, and this is a little bit of a weird conversation to be having. And so I just want to be honest with you and say, I'm trying out something new here, which I haven't done before. So you won't have seen this here before. Okay. And that's something about, I got some guidance that actually taking more of an interest in how the people reporting to me are actually doing and what's going on for them and what's, what they're worried about or whatever is going to be advantageous for them, for me, for the company and everything. So I'm just trying that out right now.
Okay.
I wanted to know if that's at all reassuring or how it is for you to hear me say that.
It's a little reassuring. I'm confused though, because where we started this conversation, you told me I'm not being a team player. And so that really got me thinking that I had done something wrong and that you were reporting to me that these coworkers who I'm not sitting with at lunch had said something to you, and now I need to do that. So now that I'm hearing you saying that we're doing something different, and you asked me if I was reassured. I mean, I guess I'm reassured, but I'm still. Yeah,
that was kind of the old model of how I do things. Me just telling you that you're not a team player, and then I've just remembered that I want to try a different way of connecting with the people in the team. Okay. Right. So for me, it's a change that's happening here. So. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's actually very reassuring hearing you say that. Thank you.
I think the message that you're trying to send across is, I want the result that I want, and I want it in a way that works for you.
Right.
I don't want the result at cost to you.
Yes.
That I think is the essence of the message. So then Julia can really see that there's no contradiction. Yes, all other things being equal, you would like her to go to lunch with her coworkers. But right now you're investigating the cost. And if the cost is high, you would want to look for a different strategy to create the result that you want.
Right. It doesn't have to be that.
Yeah. And that's something that can be communicated directly to someone. I want this and not at cost to you.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if you feel comfort enough to say what it is, because I have a sense that there may be something really important for boss here to hear.
I'm a lot more comfortable now. I don't think the dynamics between me and a lot of my coworkers is so pleasant. As an example of, I was really scared when you said I need to be more a team player. I imagine that they've probably been saying some things about me behind my back that got to you, and now I'm in trouble for it. So I'm not experiencing the real, ease of working with them and the fun and the play of it. So that it's the thought of being with them during my free time, and then to find out that that's a productive time to do work with them. It made my stomach drop.
Right. Yeah.
So now you know that you have trouble in the team.
Mm-hmm.
This didn't solve the problem.
Sure.
But it gives you the information that you, as a boss, need in order to intervene and find a way to make that team work. Just telling her, be a team player, is not going to create that result because it blocks you from seeing what you need to see.
Right.